Good morning. Okay, I'm singing because I've got like Rod Stewart coming out the system over there. I hope he can't be heard through my microphone, because I'd hate to have this video get zapped by YouTube because of like some kind of copyright violation. I tested it and I don't think you can hear it. So yesterday we got this shot. The last thing we actually did 2 shots, and then we got this one blocked in. Pencil test. So a couple things to look at here. Should we put in a tween just for fun? Let's do it. Let's go 1, 2, 3, control drag here. Let's turn on the old onion skins. Yep, and then we're going to just hit the important that we're in the correct layer. And then we can set the center point like way down there. And now what I'm going to do is select this, and again move the center point. Alright, let's just see if we like that better. Turning the onion skins back off. Boom. Boom. Okay, so I feel like the pause here is not quite long enough. Let's just add 4 frames. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, cool. Save that. If you're wondering, as people have from time to time, what's up with the sunglasses, these are basically blue filtering sunglasses. It just makes the screens less egregious to my eyes. So that's that. Now, let me see about this transform mask. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten the... Does Control E flatten the layer? I want to merge. I want to flatten the layer. Boom, baby. So I'm basically taking the transformation that made him a little larger and centered him in the frame, and I'm baking it in. So now what we can do is actually, to prepare for inking, what I'm going to do is duplicate this pencil test layer, like so. And then what I'm going to do is hit Control A to select all. Right? And then what I'm going to do is go delete, 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 delete. So the selection, which selects all, remains. And so now what we've just done is we've created a situation where we have 2 layers that have the exact same keyframe arrangement. Now, to a point, you could argue that that was a little redundant in this case, because I'm probably going to want to, like for example here, it's kind of the same drawing for the most part, so there's really no reason why we couldn't ink that one time and then just do the same thing on the ink that we did on the pencils. In any case, I'm going to drop this down to a more manageable opacity level. I'm going to snag my inking brush, hit the B key, to use my ink brush. I think I'm going to hit the Q key, which I have set up as a hotkey to turn on smoothing. And probably, let me see here. I want to be smart about this. Yep, I'm gonna actually ink. Okay, let Krita cache that. Boy, his right arm does not change position very much. But what I'm considering here is to actually, I was considering putting the arms on separate layers, but I don't think that's actually necessary. in this case. So now what I'm going to do is hit the tab key so I'm full screen. And actually, I probably should, okay, strike what I was about to say. I was going to say I should switch from black as an inking color. Usually if I come about, let's see, this would be right in the center. Let's say we split the difference. That seems to be a good inking color. And it could be tinted any way you want, but that much movement away from black seems to be a good place. What happens is I invariably wind up inking in black, and then I wind up adding a filter mask to tint the ink. So why not be smart and begin to actually ink the darn thing the correct color in the first place? Well, I'm glad you asked, and the answer is, I don't mind if I do. Well, that was interesting. So, like I said, I don't know if you can hear the music I have playing in the background, but frankly, I hope you can't, because it might cause this video to get, you know, Rod Stewart may not approve of me letting my YouTube friends hear the music I'm playing. Right. Okay, back to the old tab key. Okay, so this will probably have to be cut, ultimately. But that's alright. I'm going to just kind of delineate his musculature a little bit more dramatically here than I otherwise might, just because it's fun to do so. Right? Yeah, so the big difference in the subsequent frames is probably going to be his hand, which suggests I should have probably done this in reverse. Ink the later frame so that I could then animate his arm and move it off the screen, but no big deal. No huge harm done. Alright, we'll just keep on rocking. Rocking! Well, it's fun to draw Zen because it's a bit of a throwback to kind of, you might say, where I come from creatively, since I cut my teeth on basically John Buscema and Frank Frazetta, the work they did in the 60s and 70s for the most part in the comic book and fantasy art arenas. Buscema was a huge influence, actually. I'm kind of glad to say that now when I look back at Buscema's work, while I do think he's an outstanding artist, his work doesn't impress me the way it did when I was a younger guy, and I'm kind of glad that's true. It took a long time to outgrow my influences. And why do I say that? Well, because before you have outgrown your influences, what you have a tendency to do is try to channel them in your work, and you want your work to look like their work. And that is an exercise in futility. You can't really do that. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so let's copy this here. I said let's copy it here, and that's in order. Okay, we'll do this in a couple steps. Step one will be to anchor on his hippage. Whoops. Okay. Step two would be to rotate that back to there. And then step three, just want to be really careful to Get these edges correct. Okay. And as I think I mentioned in a previous video, I have repeatedly changed this. Yeah, I actually despise these hotkeys. I'm actually going to see if I can override this, because what's happening? Here's what's going wrong. There's almost never a situation where I want to make a selection like I just did, and by the way, I'm hitting Control-Shift-A to unselect everything. Okay, it's very, very rare that I'm going to make a selection and then I will want to make another selection and that one will be added to the previous selection. That virtually never happens for me. But it seems to be the default. You can actually see a little plus sign on the icon right there. And this is just a flaw in the latest version of Krita, 4.2.9 beta, which is that I keep changing the tool default back to replace mode and it doesn't work. Now the other thing that is broken in this version of Krita is my normal procedure, which I kind of got from OpenTunes, is to use the S key to select and then hit the A key to invoke the animate tool, which in Krita is known as the free transform tool. Okay, so now if I hit the A tool, what it actually does, as you can see right there, if you saw this little plus sign on the icon, what it did was it's like a sub hotkey of this, and so it makes this no longer work, which is kind of a bit frustrating. So I'm going to see if I can actually fix that right now. And the way I'm going to fix it is I'm going to look at these tool options. So I need to hit the select tool. And then I'm guessing that if I go into my hotkeys, so let's configure Krita, go to hotkeys, and I'm going to look for add. Selection mode add. Yeah, let's delete this hotkey. I just want to. Okay, if I hit delete, this is going to be a little tricky. If I hit delete here, it's going to delete the whole scheme. Where do I remove? Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to change it to the plus key, because that's really what I want it to be. So let's try that. Now if I hit the A key, subtract, I wonder what happens if, so if I hit R, it wants to do a replace. So I'm going to start over. I'm going to hit S, make a selection. Okay, now if I go to make another selection, okay, now it worked. It's no longer adding. So now if I hit the A key, yes, it worked. Yay, things are back to normal-ish. Other than the fact that Krita seems to be thinking it can't transform that. Let's just go like this, and then hit the A key. Yeah, it worked. Okay, cool. That's the behavior I like, because it's just fast. I can just like really draw things quickly and tweak them. So, all right, so now I'm gonna unselect, hit the B key, so we're back in inking mode, and we'll just go like this. And now let's see what the difference is here. This should be fairly simple. So I'm going to hit the A key, anchor the translation down yonder, and now we're going to get him lined up there, and we're going to do the same thing we did before. So I'm hitting select, and I want to just grab this stuff like that, then hit the A key, shift the anchor. There it is. Okay. Oops. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, silly me. Well, that's okay. I can do it this way. I actually want that down there. Okay, let's grab that. I'm hitting Control-Shift-A to unselect. unselect everything. So I'm actually really happy to observe and report here that it was pretty easy to fix the things, the hotkeys that in Krita 2. Or 4.2.9 beta were broken. So that's really good news. I'm glad to see that wasn't too overly clunky to accomplish. Got that line. I better turn the pencils off just to make sure I'm seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we better close this. And then obviously having a... Okay, so I guess I'll just draw it again. What the heck? Okay, that was lame. Boom. Boom. That's cool. That'll work. Okay. So now I hit W for rewind, which, by the way, your installation of Krita will not have the W key mapped to rewind, which is actually first frame in the animation docker. So in the animation docker, this little button right here, which rewinds to the beginning, I map that to W because all of the audio and video software I use, like Vegas and Reaper, all use the W key for, I guess it means wind, rewind to the beginning. Oopsie poo. Okay, that looks great. Okay, so let's turn this guy back on and see what we're going to do here. Now this part should be quite fun. Ink, 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 ink. I'm trying to draw my lines like really quickly right now so that if I can avoid having to have the smoothing on, then cool. Back up a little bit. Okay, yeah. Make sure I've got some context here. Gonna exaggerate his pecs just a little more than I did in the pencil test. Now we're back to here, his arm being off screen. We can be a little looser here for two reasons. One, just to make it silly, if you will, but also to because things are moving really fast. So okay, I want to check the pants situation. Okay, so I would say I'm going to turn the smoothing back on just because when I move my cursor a little too quickly, it seems to be losing its tracking a bit. So boom, 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 and boom. Okay. Ooh, that's no good. Come on, Dave. Actually, let me flip the canvas just to make sure. That's better. Okay, and we better close this shape. Otherwise, it ain't gonna feel too good. Fill, not feel. Alright, I'm gonna solo the layer. with the tilde key, which again, I'm pretty sure that is a hotkey that I set up. Okay, so now this is a great pose. This can be so much fun. Nothing but fun, guys. Nothing but fun. I'm going to give him a little bit of a gritted teeth kind of situation. Now, again, this can be very loose. This is going to be on the screen, I believe, literally 2 frames. Yes, 2 frames. And I'm going to just keep it really simple. I just want it to look like a really dangerous, ham-fisted bunch of nastiness flying at you really fast. Pecs. He's kind of got all these muscles just bursting out of his skin. And he's got the old 6-pack going on. Okay, I chose to keep his hand really simple in the background. So let's just kind of go with that. Slight indication of fingers. No harm. Oops. Had a little stray mark. Okay. Probably we should have some knuckle indicator right there, I suppose. And so there we go. We can keep that, again, super loose. Okay, so now we're kind of baking a camera move into this in a sense. Just in addition to his hand flying at the screen, we're also making his body slightly bigger so that it almost feels like the camera's doing a slight zoom or push or dolly, whatever you want to say. Alright. Yeah, there's all you're going to see there is his fist. So, okay. Boom, boom, boom. And again, we can keep this super loose, super fun, super silly. We're going to use actually worse anatomy even than Jack Kirby, who was an amazing visual storyteller, but his handling of the human anatomy, which worked really well in the context of comic books, was iffy, shall we say? Okay, let's just see. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Again, keeping it very loose. Really exaggerated expression. And boom, 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 boom. This is something you do not want to get punched in the face by. So it's kind of unfortunate for Ninja number 1. But he's about to have his lights punched out. Okay. Now, we have a star shape here. Probably what we should do is just use a polyline. Let me test it first. Yeah, I like the making sure the line thickness is cool. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Thank you, Krita, for closing that shape for me. And now I'm just going to kind of make phase 2 slightly bigger. And I may ultimately actually remove one of those frames as well. We'll see. I may just go with the one. Save that. And rewind. Let's see how she looks. Boom. Boom. Yeah, actually, this is... I'm going to just take this frame and put it here because it feels like the explosion of it, if you will. It's really happening too slow. So, in fact, I think everything's happening too slowly. Let's try moving this back. I very rarely put anything on ones in this thing, but if it works, it works. So let's just see. Boom. 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 Okay, and then this, I feel like this should probably be moved downstream a little bit. The truth is, it probably should be faded out. Maybe not. Actually, I don't like that. Let's go to 30 and see how that feels. Boom, boom. Okay, that's good, guys. I like it. So I'm going to save this, and let's call that good. We'll come back and do the paint and the color. Well, paint is color, and the background in the next section, and maybe some effects like, as I said, fading this out. Probably what we'll do is we'll put in the get the paint in, and then we'll flatten it out so it's all a flat layer and single layer, and then we can deal with effects over top of that if we're going to add any. So save our work, and as you guys know, there will be more later.